Hey y'all, in this video we're going to go over questions 10 and 11 from the Test 2 Study Guide. In these questions, we are given a list of just simple vectors that are going north, south, east, and west, and we are asked to use the x and y component method to determine the resultant vector. So we're going to use this chart to do that. All right? So first step when you have questions like this is to sort out the vectors given to you. So if they're north or south, you're going to put them in the y column. If they're east or west, you're going to put them in the x column. Right, so 20 meters north is going to go in the y column. We also are going to keep this positive because north and east are positive and west and south are negative. Right, so then for 14 east, that's going to be an x column and we're going to keep it positive. And then 28 west is going to be negative in the x column. Right, so that's step one. Step two is to add up both of your columns. So for the x column, positive 14 plus negative 28 is going to equal negative 14. And then in the y, we only have 1, so of course it's going to be that same number of 20, and it'll be positive 20. Right? Next step is to draw out your vectors. I always draw the x vector, then the y vector. Technically, you could do them in either order. Right? So for the x vector, we're going to go, if it's negative, that means we're going to go west. If it were positive, we'd just go to the east. So we're going to go 14 west, and then we're going to go from there, we're going to draw the y one. So then we're going to go up 20. Right? Then we want to determine our resultant vector. So your resultant vector is going to be the hypotenuse of the triangle, and you now have just a right triangle problem. So it's like solving all of those problems. So we're going to use Pythagorean theorem to get the magnitude. So 14 squared plus 20 squared equals our resultant squared. When you simplify the left-hand side, you get 596 equal to r squared, and then square root, and you're going to get 24.4 for that value. Right? Then our next step is to find the direction at which this vector is going. So we see that it's going at an angle. So we want to use inverse tan to find the degrees. So it would be opposite side is 20, adjacent side is 14 to get our angle. And then when you type that in the calculator, you should get about 55 degrees, right? And then we need to know which way that 55 is going. So if we put this on a compass, we can see that it's touching the west axis here and it's going above that. So it's going north of west. All right, so now we can put all the pieces together into our blanks here, and it'd be 24.4 is the magnitude, and this is in meters since the question was in meters. And then our direction is the 55 degrees north of west. Okay. All right, it's the same deal for question 11. We have the same type problem, so let's go ahead and sort them. So 25 meters south is going to be negative in the y, because both west and south are negatives, and north and south go in the y. Then 38 meters east goes in the x, and we're going to keep it positive. 50 meters west is going to be negative in the x, and then 42 north is going to go in the y column and stay positive. Right? So we're going to add up our columns next. Our total for the x is negative 12. Total for the y is positive 17. Okay. Now, step 3 is to draw this out. I always draw x, then y. You can technically do them in either order, but you just want to draw them one after the next, tip to tail. So if negative in the x means you're going to go west, if it was positive, you go east, and then our y is positive, so we're going to go north. So we have 12 west, 17 north. All right. Then our resultant vector is going to be drawn starting and ending in the same spots, and it's our hypotenuse of our triangle, and our direction we want is the corner when we first started drawing. Now we can find our magnitude by using Pythagorean theorem. Is 12 squared plus 17 squared equals r squared. So when we simplify the left-hand side, we're going to get 433 equals r squared. We're going to square root both sides, and that will give us 20.8. Okay, so that's our magnitude. We can go ahead and put that in the blank up here, and the units will be in meters since our question was in meters. Now we want to find the direction we're going. So we can see that this is going at an angle, so that means we need to find the degrees using inverse tan. So our opposite side is 17, our adjacent side is 12 to get our angle. And when we type that in the calculator, we're going to get 54.8. And make sure your calculator is in degree mode. Once you've set it, it should stay that way unless your calculator gets reset. Right, so it's 54.8 degrees, and then we need to say, okay, well, which way is that 54.8 going? So on a compass, we can see it is touching the west axis and going above it, so it is north of west. So then our direction is 54.8 degrees north of west. Okay, and that's it for these. If you've got any questions, you know to always contact me.